The laughter echoed across the shining marble floor, loud enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. A billionaire in an expensive tailored suit glanced down at the man quietly pushing a mop across the polished tiles and smirked as if he were invisible. To everyone watching, he was just another cleaner wearing a faded uniform, working silently while the rich and powerful walked past without a second glance. But no one knew that hidden beneath the simple uniform was a story of unimaginable sacrifice, heartbreaking loss, and a secret that would soon leave the entire building speechless. If you believe kindness is never wasted and everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Hardworking Dad for more emotional stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Morning sunlight poured through the enormous glass windows of the Sterling Heights Financial Tower, painting long golden reflections across the spotless floors. Every morning before sunrise, while executives slept comfortably in luxury apartments and investors prepared for another day of making fortunes, a quiet man named Rowan Mercer arrived carrying nothing more than a lunch bag, an old backpack, and a framed picture of his young daughter tucked carefully inside. Every corner he cleaned reflected not only his hard work but also the determination of a father who had promised never to let life defeat him. Rowan's life had changed forever 3 years earlier. His wife had lost her battle with a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise 7-year-old Ivy. The hospital bills had swallowed every saving they had built together. Their comfortable home had been sold. His engineering career disappeared after the company where he worked shut down during a financial crisis. Job after job rejected him because employers believed his long career gap made him unreliable. Eventually, the only position available was as a night and early morning cleaner. Many people assumed he had failed in life. What they never saw was what happened after every exhausting shift. Rowan hurried home before school started, prepared breakfast with loving care, braided Ivy's hair despite learning through countless online videos, packed her lunch with handwritten notes, and walked her to school every morning wearing the same warm smile that hid endless exhaustion. Every evening after helping her with homework, he studied advanced engineering textbooks until midnight, refusing to allow his knowledge to disappear. The employees inside Sterling Heights barely noticed him. Some greeted him politely. Others ignored him completely. A few left coffee cups, food wrappers, and muddy footprints behind because they believed cleaning was someone else's problem. Rowan never complained. He simply smiled, cleaned the mess, and continued moving forward because he understood something many successful people had forgotten. Every honest job carried dignity. The building belonged to billionaire businessman Victor Ashcombe, a man celebrated for creating billion-dollar companies but equally known for judging people by appearances. Victor believed success belonged only to those who displayed confidence, expensive clothing, and visible achievements. Hard work impressed him only when it produced wealth. One bright Tuesday morning, Victor entered the lobby surrounded by assistants and investors preparing for an important international meeting. As Rowan carefully polished the marble entrance, Victor barely slowed his pace before making a careless remark loud enough for nearby employees to hear. His words suggested that some people simply lacked ambition and spent their lives cleaning after others instead of building something meaningful. Soft laughter followed as several people lowered their eyes, pretending not to notice Rowan standing only a few feet away. The cleaner never answered. Instead, he quietly stepped aside so everyone could pass safely without slipping on the freshly cleaned floor. His calm silence surprised even the security guards who had witnessed countless rude encounters over the years. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. The company announced an emergency engineering problem involving the building's advanced environmental control system. A critical malfunction threatened to overheat several floors containing millions of dollars worth of sensitive computer equipment. Specialists estimated repairs would require days, forcing operations to shut down. As technicians rushed through hallways searching for the cause, Rowan recognized the symptoms immediately. Years earlier he had helped design similar systems before losing his engineering position. Quietly, without interrupting anyone, he approached the maintenance supervisor and respectfully pointed toward a hidden valve assembly that was frequently overlooked during inspections. At first, nobody believed him. Only after hours of unsuccessful troubleshooting did the desperate supervisor reluctantly inspect the location Rowan had described. Within minutes, technicians discovered the exact failure. The repair took less than 30 minutes. Operations resumed. Millions of dollars in potential losses had been avoided. Still, Rowan returned to pushing his cleaning cart without expecting recognition. Saving the company had never been about receiving praise. It was simply the right thing to do. Several employees began viewing him differently. They started greeting him by name. Some even shared lunch breaks with him after learning about his background. For the first time since joining the company, Rowan felt seen not as a cleaner but as a human being. Meanwhile, Victor remained unaware of what had truly happened. A week later another unexpected event unfolded. Ivy's elementary school organized a science exhibition where parents were invited to help children build simple engineering projects. Rowan spent every spare evening constructing a small bridge model from recycled materials while teaching Ivy basic physics through games and stories. She proudly presented the project, explaining how every tiny support beam mattered because removing even one weak piece could cause everything else to collapse. Among the visiting judges happened to be Helena Ashcombe, Victor's elderly mother, a retired teacher who valued character above wealth. She was deeply moved after hearing Ivy explain that her father always said people were exactly like bridges because every act of kindness helped support someone else's future. Helena asked to meet the father behind those words. When Rowan arrived wearing his cleaning uniform after finishing work, she listened quietly as Ivy proudly introduced him. Helena immediately recognized sincerity, humility, and intelligence that money could never purchase. Curious, she later requested information about the mysterious cleaner who had impressed her more than many executives she had met. The investigation revealed everything. She discovered Rowan's engineering career, his academic achievements, his patents from years earlier, his volunteer work teaching mathematics to neighborhood children, and his decision to accept cleaning work simply because his daughter needed stability after losing her mother. Most astonishing of all, Helena learned that Rowan had anonymously donated part of every paycheck to help pay school meals for children whose families struggled financially. Victor received the report expecting an ordinary employee profile. Instead, every page challenged the assumptions he had built throughout his career. For the first time, he realized the man he had publicly mocked possessed qualifications exceeding many of his senior engineers. Unable to ignore the truth, Victor quietly reviewed security footage from the day of the environmental system failure. There, without seeking attention, Rowan calmly offered the correct solution before returning to his mop. Victor watched the footage several times. Each replay made his own behavior appear smaller. Days later, he arrived unusually early and found Rowan cleaning the lobby before sunrise. The building stood almost empty as sunlight slowly illuminated the glass walls. This time there was no audience. No investors. No assistants. Only two men standing on opposite sides of the polished floor. Victor apologized sincerely, admitting that he had judged someone without knowing their story. He confessed that wealth had gradually convinced him success could be measured by appearance rather than character. Rowan accepted the apology with quiet grace, explaining that carrying bitterness would only steal precious time from his daughter. Rather than offering charity, Victor offered opportunity. He invited Rowan to interview for the company's newly created innovation division. The interview surprised everyone. Without mentioning his difficult past, Rowan solved engineering challenges that experienced professionals struggled to answer. His practical experience, combined with years of independent study, produced creative solutions that impressed every executive present. He earned the position entirely on merit. Months passed. The former cleaner soon led projects improving energy efficiency across multiple company buildings, saving millions while creating safer workplaces. Yet despite his growing success, Rowan continued arriving early every Friday morning to help the cleaning staff polish the lobby before beginning his engineering duties. When younger employees asked why he still cleaned floors despite his promotion, Rowan simply smiled and said that no honest work should ever be forgotten because those who forget where they came from often lose sight of where they are going. His example transformed the company culture. Executives began greeting cleaners by name. Maintenance workers received improved benefits. Scholarship programs were established for employees seeking further education regardless of their current position. Respect slowly became more valuable than status. The greatest reward, however, waited at home. One evening Ivy opened the front door holding a school certificate recognizing her kindness toward classmates. She hugged her father tightly and whispered that she wanted to become an engineer just like him, not because engineers built machines but because her father used his knowledge to help people. In that moment, Rowan realized every difficult night, every painful sacrifice, every humiliating comment, and every lonely morning had been worth enduring. The little girl who had watched him refuse to surrender had learned the most important lesson of all. True success is measured not by the title on your office door but by the kindness in your heart and the people whose lives become better because you never stopped believing in doing what was right. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that every person deserves respect regardless of their job, please support this video by liking it, sharing it with family and friends, subscribing to Hardworking Dad, and leaving a comment to encourage someone who may be struggling today. Special request: before you leave, comment with the words, "Every honest job deserves respect." Your words might inspire someone who feels unseen to keep moving forward. As the sun set behind the city skyline, Rowan stood outside the towering building where he had once been overlooked every single day. The same golden light reflected across the glass walls, but everything had changed. Not because he had become wealthy or earned a prestigious title, but because the world had finally discovered what his daughter had always known. Beneath the simple uniform was never just a cleaner. He was a loving father, a brilliant mind, and a man whose greatest wealth had always been the strength of his character. And in the end, that quiet strength changed not only his own future but the hearts of everyone fortunate enough to witness it.